Oh, yes, hello, welcome to Doki Doki Forest. I've just flown in with a bunch of books. Originally, Amy was going to do old books from the thrift stores, but I found a bunch of children's books, so she will be focusing on those instead. Hi friends, it's Amy at Doki Doki Forest, and today is Thursday, which means it's Thrifty Thursday. So I'm going to share with you some more books that I found at the book sale, and a couple of these I also found used. There is a local bookstore that's not too far from where I am, and they have new books, and then they have a back room where they have used books, so you can get some really good deals back there. And Thrifty Thursday is a hashtag that you can look up to see what everyone else is sharing, and it's hosted by Sheree over at Turquoise Dreaming, and I will link her info down below. So let's get into the books. First up, I found this cute little hardcover called Stubborn Bender by Stevenson. Let's open it up so we can see the full name. But I thought the illustration on the cover was really cute. This reminded me of a book that I would have had growing up, so I just liked it. Let's see. It says 1961 there, so I'm guessing that must be right. Yep. Here we go, 1961. And you can see the cute little illustration. There's Stubborn Binder by Carol Dornfeld Stevenson, illustrated by Betty Beebe. And so I love these illustrations. So back when I was growing up, and I guess in the 60s, I wasn't growing up in the 60s. I was growing up in like the 70s and 80s. And we had a lot of books like this where there was just a couple of different colors in the color palette. It wasn't all of them. A lot of times it would look like either ink or pencil or charcoal, and then it would just have a couple of colors. So in this one, we've got like this orange and green color with the pencil. So this is about a pony. Binder was a pony. He was a big, black, stubborn pony. He lived in a green field with a white fence around it. So this is just really cute. I just love these illustrations. And this isn't for me to turn into an altered book or anything like that. This is just a book that I just thought was so cute. Like I said, I loved the style of it. This reminded me of a book that would have been like something I would read all the time. But I have never... Oh... At last the children stopped coming to see Binder. He was all alone, but, he pretended, he liked to be alone. Not because he was afraid, not because he was shy, but because he was stubborn. Oh, Binder. Luckily, that's not the end. It keeps going. I kind of want to have a series where I read these books. I think that would be kind of fun to read a book each week. And I didn't forget about this book, this Let's Pretend book. I am going to read with you. Let's see, we had a request from Janet B. to read Princess Moonbeam. So I will be reading that one. That'll be the first one. Maybe I'll read this Binder one after that. Then the next one I found was this one, Commander Toad and the Planet of the Grapes by Jane Yolen. Pictures by, I think it's Bruce Deegan. And this is an ex-library book. Ooh, it has the little, you can't take the card out. That's just like a sticker. Yep, that's a sticker on there. But I love when they have the little pocket. And I like the library cover, too, with the plastic. A Break of Day book. And this book was from 1982. And this is, I guess this is the first printing. But look, this is a simple one, too. Simple illustrations, which I like. Not that the illustrations are simple, but just the coloring is very simple. Now this book is very dirty. It's a lot. It was well loved, I should say. Well loved. But look at this. Oh my gosh, look. Instead of Star Wars, it says Star Warts. This just looked so fun. read a little bit here. Brave and bright, bright and brave, Commander Toad brings his ship through deep hopper space. That ship is called the Star Warts. Its mission? To find new worlds, to explore new planets, to bring a little bit of Earth out to the alien stars. So that's this book, and I'm going to leave it like that. But again, I feel like I want to read this one to you guys too. This is a book I definitely would have gotten out of the library if I had ever stumbled upon it, but I never did. But I always loved stories that featured animals as the main characters. I felt like they were hard to find. You know, like The Wind in the Willows, or even Paddington. Paddington, even though there's like humans and stuff in there, you know, it's still Paddington, a bear that talks. So I loved that. And speaking of which, I can share with you, my next book was Paddington Abroad by Michael Bond, illustrated by Peggy Fortnum. And these Dell Yearling books, I used to get these out of the library all the time. These are the kind of books I owned growing up. These ones, and I think there was, I think it was like Apple books. I used to see that. Oh, Paddington becomes Monsieur Le Bear. Gotta find out about that. So I have read some of the Paddington stories, and I do have a couple of other books. I have a bear called Paddington, and I may have Paddington at Large, or maybe it's more about Paddington, but I don't have the whole collection. This one is from 1972, and these books are just so delightful. There's fun, they're funny. Paddington, I mean, you know Paddington. And I love the illustrations. These are the kind of books I really loved reading when I was younger, and now too. I really appreciate having some pictures here and there. They just make it so fun when you read, and then all of a sudden you get to a little picture, and look, it's just like a squiggly style Paddington bear. It's very cute. And look, some more squiggly supplies there. So these books I'll be reading. I do love to read children's books, which you can probably guess because, you know, I love illustrating and I love to be a children's book author and illustrator someday, and I just love collecting children's books. I read them, I look at the pictures, I just love it. All right, next up we have these book and record sets. Tell me if you remember these. We have The Hobbit and The Return of the King. And these are based on those Rankin Bass movies. I used to watch these all the time. I used to get them out, you know, back in the day when you would go to the store and you would rent your VHS tape movie for the week. I would get these out all the time, especially The Hobbit. So tell me if you remember this. And the animation was really cool. I remember parts of it were a little bit scary, though. Good old Bilbo at the Shire. Gandalf. And all the dwarves. But this book is in like pretty good, I mean really good shape considering. But I used to love these books with the records. They have so many nice pictures. These guys I remember I used to like too. The goblins. Where's Gollum? Here we go. This guy was a little freaky. But I mean, he's kind of supposed to be, right? But yeah, so this Hobbit book I got all the time. Oh, Smaug. You know, in the movie, they called him Smaug, but I always called him Smaug. So, what do you think? Smaug or Smaug? Either way, that was always my favorite character, of course. And look, the little record is still tucked in the back. I haven't put it on yet. I do have a record player, but I have not put it on yet. It's like a little cat hair. Oh, maybe that's a scratch. I guess it's a scratch. Yeah, so we've got the story and song. I was shocked it had the record. I did not expect that. And then this one, Return of the King. There we go. But yeah, these are just really neat. Samwise. On their journey to Mount Doom. So yeah, and there's the record there. So I was super excited to find those. Next up, I will share with you, I got a whole bunch of these Roald Dahl books illustrated by Sir Quentin Blake. I got like a ton of them. They had a whole bunch and I grabbed all of them. We have some of the books, but these were all ones I'm pretty sure we don't have. Although now that I'm looking at this, I think we might have this one, but that's okay. So I got The Magic Finger, and I love these books. I love the books and the illustrations. They're just so fun. So I got The Magic Finger, SEO or ECO Trot, which is tortoise, backwards. And I just can't wait to read these. I have not read all of these. This one I haven't read before. I read like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, of course. I read those books. I read George and the Giant Peach, but that was not illustrated by Sir Quentin Blake. And I read The Twits, The Witches. Yeah, I used to love these books growing up. Danny, Champion of the World, which we don't have. And I don't believe I've ever read this either. I'm trying to just skip through to see if I can find a couple little pictures to show you. Sometimes the expressions are just so fun. But I love these. And this one, Janet Nash was she had mentioned when we were talking about Sir Quentin Blake. She talked about The Giraffe and the Pelly and Me. And I couldn't believe it. There it was. So I grabbed this one. I've not read this one yet. I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm not sure what's happening here. It looks like somehow a bathtub fell out of the house and is smashing, maybe? Look at the little animals up there in the house. See, I'm really looking forward to reading this one. George's Marvelous Medicine, which I have read before, but it's been a long time. But I have read this one. Look at that lady. And he's thinking about a slug. Here he is making the marvelous medicine. Is it marvelous or is it disgusting? I have to read the book to find out. So yeah, I'm going to reread that one. And some of these books are just like really easy reads too. Like these 4 books kind of equal like one book almost. You know? So they're fast reads. And this one is the thrilling sequel to Boy called Going Solo. And I don't have Boy, but I didn't find it when I was looking at the books. So I'll have to keep my eye out for that one. But this one is actually about Roald Dahl's life, I believe. Going Solo is the action-packed tale of Roald Dahl's exploits as a World War II pilot. Learn all about his encounters with the enemy, his worldwide travels, the life-threatening injuries he sustained in a plane accident, and the rest of his sometimes bizarre, often unnerving, and always colorful adventures. Wow. So I do want to read Boy first. I don't know that it matters too much, but I just kind of want to read Boy first. So this one I'll put to the side for now. And then look, they also had this one. Roald Dahl, More About Boy. Roald Dahl's Tales from Childhood. So it seems like I found all the other books except for Boy. let's see. So here's Roald Dahl there. It says Roald Dahl was 68 when Boy was first published. All things to discover in here. All kinds of stories. A Visit to the Doctor. Roald Dahl, aged 8. The Looney Bin. And a school photo. Let's see what this says. I have already told you that all headmasters are giants, and this one was no exception. He advanced upon my mother and shook her by the hand. Then he shook me by the hand, and as he did so gave me the kind of flashing grin a shark might give to a small fish just before he gobbles it up. One of his front teeth, I noticed, was edged all the way round with gold, and his hair was slicked down with so much hair cream that it glistened like butter. What a description. Don't you feel like you can just see that character in your mind? Whoa, look at this. It says, this is Matron. Oops, sorry, no, it's actually Miss Trunchbull from Matilda, but it's very easy to get them mixed up. Bruce Bogtrotter. I don't know what this is. When Bruce... And I'll hold this up and read this little blurb here. When Bruce Bogtrotter had eaten his way through half the entire enormous cake, he paused for just a couple of seconds and took several deep breaths. The Trunchbull stood with hands on hips, glaring at him. "Get on with it," she shouted. "Eat it up." Suddenly, the boy let out a gigantic belch. So that's from Matilda. So I guess we have a lot of background on maybe the characters that show up in Matilda. Maybe they were influenced by some real-life people. Captain Hardcastle. It says, we called them masters in those days, not teachers. And at St. Peter's, the one I feared most of all, apart from the headmaster, was Captain Hardcastle. There he is. Oh, and you get a little, like, fact here, too. It says, Brilliantine is an old-fashioned hair gel favored by gentlemen when Roald Dahl was a boy. It is very oily and makes hair look very greasy. Huh, that's pretty neat. Chocolates. Cadbury's used young chocolate tasters for many years. Many of these tasters received an official certificate, but if Roald Dahl ever had one, unfortunately, he didn't keep it. So maybe this Cadbury, something about Cadbury's here. We'll see. Maybe that leads into, oh my gosh, the Roald Dahl cookbook. It says, if I were a headmaster, I would get rid of the history teacher and get a chocolate teacher instead, and my pupils would study a subject that affected all of them. Well, I tell you, if there was a chocolate teacher, I 100% would have paid attention to that. And next up, I found this book, The Secret Garden, and I have The Secret Garden. I have like a regular novel, but this one is illustrated by Inga Moore, and I had this on my wish list. Let me back up a little bit so you can see it. There we go. I had this on my Amazon wish list, but then I found it at the book sale, so I was super excited. I think I got this for $1. And the illustrations are the reason to get this edition. I mean, of course, the story. But if you already have the story and you're thinking, well, I don't really need another copy of that story. These illustrations are so beautiful. Look at the plants and the animals. It's just gorgeous. So I was really excited to find this. And I'll give this a reread. I've only read The Secret Garden once, though. I read it a couple years ago. I was trying to read some books that were like classics that I used to get out of the library, but then not actually read them, or I read part of them, but I never finished. So The Secret Garden was one of those. And also Peter Pan. I had never read Peter Pan the whole way through. And let's see if I can find... Here we go. The book is so big, I'm trying to fit it with like the camera legs up here. But I think you can see. And I had read Heidi. I'd never read Heidi before, but we owned that one growing up, and I used to flip through it. But yeah, so I went and actually read a bunch of books, and this was one of them. And let me see if I can find. Here we go. Here she is going into the garden. But these are just stunning. So yeah, I'd like to collect the other books by Inga Moore that she's illustrated. I just love her style. Beautiful garden. Oops. What did I skip past? Oh, this one. There she is in the garden. Let's see if I can find one with an animal, because I really love... Oh, there she is with a little bird. Let's see. They're just really pretty. I'm sorry, I'm flipping past. It's just... I was trying to see if I could find some... Here's some little animals. Look, there's a little mouse. So cute. And then a snail. So yeah, I would like to collect her other stories as well. Oh wait, let me show you this one. There we go, that's a nice one. And some little red squirrels up there. Maybe some friends of Sylvia's. Sorry about the shine. Book's got a little bit of a gloss to it. Not too much, but just enough to catch the light. So sorry about the glare there. But yeah, so I see in the back it says that she also illustrated The Wind in the Willows. So I'd love to get that one next. The Wind in the Willows. And speaking of which, I've never fully read The Wind in the Willows. So that has got to be on my list. So this book is $14.99 regularly. And this is a, I don't know if there's a hardcover edition. This is just the paperback, so I'm not sure. But this is gorgeous. I highly recommend that book. And next I'm going to share this book. This is The Story of the Root Children by Sybil von Olfers. And she has a bunch of books that she's written. I think I only have two. I have like, it's Christopher's Harvest and one about like Peter and the Blueberries. I should look it up, but she has all kinds of stories and they're really magical. They've got like these little characters that look like little fairies. They don't have wings, but they're just really cute and they're always interacting with nature. And this is a nice hardcover. This was a used book. So this one had a bunch of writing over here that they crossed out. Originally published in German in 1906. English version 1990. And the sixth impression was in 2000, printed in Belgium. Yeah, so this book I didn't have. And you can find this book. This is an older version, but these aren't out of print. As far as I know, these are still easy to find on Amazon or Thrift Books or wherever. But I love these. I do want to have this whole collection as well. So these are the little root children. These are little root children that were sleeping underground. And they're waking up. Each of the root children chose her own color to make a dress. The snowdrop chose a snow white cloth. The forget-me-not a sky blue piece, the buttercup bright yellow, the daisy white with yellow and a bit of red, and the poppy a bright red. They sat down in a cozy circle and began to work busily. They cut, they sewed, and pressed until everything fitted exactly. And as they worked, they sang all the spring songs that they knew. So these books are always really nice, just about being in rhythm with the earth and the seasons. Look, the little ant helpers are here. They're doing some, are they doing knitting? Looks like a ball of yarn here. This one's got his spectacles. But they're just really sweet books. Let's see, but there was still more to be done. The ladybirds, the beetles, the grubs, and the bumblebees had also been sleeping under the ground and had now woken up. They had to be washed and brushed, painted colorfully, and made to shine so that they would look as beautiful as possible. What a hustle and bustle was going on down there. So I love that, because a lot of times we think of bugs as being gross, and even if you like beetles, you might think of grubs as gross. Like, I mean, I don't like grubs when I see them. But I love that this book just makes them like, look, they just need to have their baths and get ready. They all have a role to play. Nothing is gross. The little root children take care of everybody. And look, here they go. We've got the bugs and the children all heading out now. At last it was really springtime. Mother Earth opened the door. Then out into the lovely, warm spring sunshine came the stately procession of beetles, ladybirds, and root children, with their blades of grass and flowers. So these pictures are just beautiful. You could buy a copy to read, and then a copy to, you know, tear up and use in a journal, a fairy journal, or magical forest journal, or just a springtime journal. But every page is beautiful. So these books I love. I was really happy to find this one. I didn't see any other ones, but I was really happy to find this. And I almost didn't get it because of this cross out. You know, all this stuff was crossed out, and I thought, well, I don't know. And I walked past it. I put it back, and I walked away, and I was about to check out, and then I thought, well, who cares if it has this writing? The pictures are all fine. The pages are all fine. And I went back and got it. I'm really glad I did. I think this would have been a regret if I hadn't have done that. And then the last thing I'm going to share with you is this collection I picked up of Who Remembers These Books? All these little Miss and Mr. and Miss books. Maybe Mr. Small, Mr. Messy, Mr. Dizzy, Little Miss Dottie, Little Miss Shy, Little Miss Plump, Little Miss Magic, Little Miss Star, Little Miss Late, Little Miss Neat. Anyway, there's a bunch of them. I got like a whole stack of hardcovers. So there's all my hardcovers like that. And then I got some of these soft covers too. Mr. Bounce, Mr. Bump. I love Mr. Bump. Little Miss Sunshine, Little Miss Trout, Little Miss Curious, Little Miss Tidy, Little Miss Naughty, Mr. Greedy, Little Miss Fickle, Mr. Funny, Mr. Silly, Little Miss Neat, Little Miss Late, Little Miss Star, Mr. Noisy, Mr. Nonsense, Mr. Worry, Mr. Fussy, Mr. Snow, Mr. Impossible, Mr. Dizzy. So they have so many emotions covered here. And I've never read all of these. I didn't actually ever own these. I used to get them out of the library sometimes, and I had friends that had them, but I never had them. And, you know, they're just little stories, and these all have the pockets, the library pockets. They're all ex-library books. They're these really cute characters. I just love them. They get into all these adventures. I just love the style, and I even love the size of the book. And you can still buy these. These are easily available on Amazon. In fact, I think they released these hardcovers as like a set now that you can get on Amazon. And they're hardcover and everything. So you can get them. And these are by Roger Hargreaves. And they're just really cute. This is just reminds me of my childhood. So that's why I wanted to pick these up. And I love that they're library books. So I know I could get them on Amazon, but I don't know what it is. I just love books that have been ex-library books, and they have the little pocket in the front, and, you know, even if, oh, this one doesn't have on this side, but like, you know, the little sticker on this side that would tell you where to file it at the library. Like, I just love it, and I think it's just because of my memories. I still go to the library now, of course, but I think I just love thinking about, you know, being a child and going to the library and what you would pick out and read. And I remember they would play, sometimes they would play music I was going to say at the restaurant, not at the restaurant, at the library. They used to play Free to Be, You and Me. I just remembered that now. It was like a pink record. Well, the cover was pink. The record, of course, was just black. But yeah, Free to Be, You and Me was like this really popular one. Now I have to look that up. Let's see. Have you ever felt like this? What a neat little place you've got here, remarked Mr. Clumsy, looking through the front door of Mr. Fussy's house. As he stepped inside, he tripped over his shoelaces, he often does, and knocked over a chair, and dropped his suitcase, and fell in an untidy heap on the floor. Whoops, he said. Mr. Fussy shut his eyes and heaved a sigh and groaned silently to himself. Is it that kind of thing, you think? That's not really groaning silently, though, if you're groaning. How do you groan silently? I don't know. So this looks like a visit from Mr. Clumsy sets Mr. Fuzzy. Not Fuzzy, Mr. Fussy over the edge. So, that's it for my books for now. This was the children's book edition. I also think I'm going to do, I have like a bunch of nature books that I picked up at the book sales. So I think I'm going to share that one next time. But you never know. We'll see what mood I'm in. But I hope you had a good time. Thank you so much for joining me today for book time, sharing my books. I always love to show you what I've found. I love to see what other people have found. Let me know if there's any children's books that you grew up with that meant a lot to you, that you would suggest that I read, you would recommend. I would love to know, because there's so many books out there and everyone has their own beloved books, and I would love to know what yours is. So if you've made it to the end of this video, let me know a beloved book, childhood book that you had growing up. And I would love to see if I read it or not. And if I haven't read it, it's going on the wish list, or I'm going to get it out of the library. So I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you again soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.